That is Magic Kingdom from the air this month. Castle in the middle, Space Mountain over on the right, and that enormous patch of bare dirt on the left, the one that looks like somebody took an eraser to a third of the park, that is Villain's Land. And Disney just told us what is going in there. The name, the story, both rides. They released the concept art too, and there is more detail buried in it than there was in the announcement. What they did not tell us is when. I recorded the whole showcase, so everything in this video is their words, not a rumor. I want to walk you through all of it, show you the aerials of what is actually happening on that dirt right now, and then talk about what used to be standing there, because that part matters and almost nobody is saying it out loud. Start with the name, because it is the least Disney thing about this whole announcement. It is called Villain's Land. That is it, not Villain's Kingdom, not the Isle of the Lost, not some invented proper noun with an apostrophe in it. Villain's Land. The reason they gave on stage, every land at the Magic Kingdom has the word land in the title. So why mess with a good thing? And I have to be honest, I laughed when they said it, and then about 10 seconds later I decided they were right. Adventureland, Frontierland, Fantasyland, Tomorrowland, Villain's Land. It sits in that list like it has always been there. That is the whole trick. Bruce Vaughan and Imagineer Caroline May presented it, and then they closed the segment by bringing out Glenn Close, in character, as Cruella de Vil. Now, the part I actually care about, which is the story they are building the land on, and this is where the concept art earns its keep, because Disney wrote the premise directly onto the art. Their words, an evil wish poisoned the wishing well, its unwished magic seeped forth, twisting the land into the dark forest. Read that again. Unwished magic. That is a lovely piece of writing. Here is the setup. You stray off the safe path into a dark forest, and you come to a broken, twisted wishing well. Somebody made a wish so evil that it corrupted the stone, cracked the structure open, and poisoned everything around it. And one by one, the villains came to claim it. Cruella, the evil queen, Dr. Facilier, Maleficent, each one building a lair out of that stolen magic, each one's architecture matching their own personality. And think about what that premise actually solves. The hardest problem with a Villain's Land is why? Why are all these characters from completely different films, different centuries, different worlds, standing in the same place? A poisoned wishing well is the answer. It is a magnet. It gives every villain a reason to be there that has nothing to do with a corporate crossover. 2 attractions were announced, and they go in opposite directions, up and down. Up first. The first is a coaster. You race through the enchanted briar surrounding Maleficent's mountaintop fortress. The art says it plainly. Enchanted briar ensnarls Maleficent's fortress, posing a challenge to those who dare answer her invitation. Look at the art for a second, because there is real information in it. There is a mountain, and it is a proper mountain, not a hill with a facade. There is a castle at the top of it. There is a ride vehicle on a track that is clearly moving through the briar rather than over it, and there is Maleficent standing on the right, in the horns, in a shape you would recognize from across the park. And here is the line they used on stage. I wrote it down word for word. This coaster will have, in their words, elements we have never attempted before on a Disney coaster. That is a specific claim, and it is the kind of thing you can be held to. Disney has built a lot of coasters, and saying you are doing something you have never done before is a much bigger promise than saying it is thrilling. I am writing it down, and I will come back to it when we see the layout. Now down. The second attraction takes you into the catacombs beneath the Evil Queen's palace. where you come face to face with the magic mirror. He pulls you through the glass into a mirror realm, and once you are inside, you are surrounded by villains he conjures. And the concept art has a rhyme written on it, and I think it is the single best detail in this entire announcement. Magic mirror on the wall, within his mirror realm sees all. For the bold who follow him through the glass, he promises reflections of what may come to pass. That is not marketing copy, that is ride narration. They have already written how the mirror talks to you. Now look at the art itself, because there is something in it people are skipping past. The guests are sitting in a vehicle, and it looks like a boat, long, open, multiple rows, low to the ground. I want to be careful here because this is artist concept only, and vehicle design changes all the time. But if that is a boat, that changes what this ride is. It means a slow, high-capacity dark ride, not a trackless chase. And around them, look who the mirror is conjuring. Jafar, Ursula, Cruella, the evil queen. Faces coming out of the walls on both sides. If they land this one, it belongs in the same conversation as the classic Magic Kingdom dark rides. That is what they are reaching for. So how big is this actually going to be? On stage, the Imagineers said this land is, quote, on the scale of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Sit with that. Galaxy's Edge is 14 acres. It is the biggest single land Disney has ever built at Walt Disney World. When you walk into Black Spire Outpost and the Millennium Falcon is just sitting there in front of you, full size, and the rockwork goes up above your head on both sides, that is the scale we are being told to expect. That is not a ride with a gift shop attached. That is a place. And now go back to the aerial, because this is where you can check their math yourself. That cleared footprint sits right up against Frontierland. It is not a corner. It is not an expansion pad squeezed in behind a berm. It is comparable to entire sections of the park that already exist. From the air, the Galaxy's Edge comparison stops sounding like marketing and starts looking conservative. Which brings me to the part of this I have not seen many people say, look at that dirt again. Really look at it. That was not empty land. Disney did not find a spare 14 acres behind Frontierland. On July 7th, 2025, the Rivers of America closed. Tom Sawyer Island closed. The Liberty Square riverboat took its final voyages the day before and then stopped. All of it gone in one day. Those were opening day attractions, not opening decade. Opening day, 1971. Tom Sawyer Island was the place you took a raft to. It had a cave and a barrel bridge, and it was the only spot in Magic Kingdom where a kid could just be turned loose for 20 minutes. The riverboat was a real steam-powered boat on a real body of water in the middle of a theme park, and the water in that aerial is gone. You can see the shape of where the river was, drained, dry, graded flat. I am not going to tell you Disney was wrong to do it. The riverboat had low capacity, the island was quiet for years, and that acreage was doing very little work for a park that is full to bursting on most days of the year. That is a real argument, and I understand it. But I think you are allowed to hold two things at once. You can be genuinely excited about Villains Land and still notice that the ground it is standing on used to be one of the last pieces of the park Walt actually signed off on. Both of those are true. Anybody telling you that you have to pick one is selling something. And I will tell you why I land where I land on it. My son loves Halloween. Not the candy, the whole season, the atmosphere, the spooky. And his favorite ride at Walt Disney World is Haunted Mansion. By far. It is not close. Every single trip. That is the one he wants first and the one he wants again before we leave. For years, our family has had the same conversation walking out of that queue. Disney has the best villains in the business sitting right there, and for decades, the only place to really meet them was a hard-ticket Halloween party or a merchandise wall. I said years ago they needed to build a land for them. So when the name came up on that screen at D23, I thought about him immediately. This is the land he has been describing to us for years without knowing it. Now, the part where I am not going to sell you a fantasy. There is no opening date, not a year, not a window, nothing. They gave us a name, a story, 2 attractions, and full concept art, and then stopped short of the one number everybody actually wanted. And reporting this summer said the timeline had already slipped further out, with observers putting it somewhere around the end of the decade. Here is how I read that. An announcement without a date is a statement of intent, not a plan. That does not mean it is not happening. The dirt in that area is real. The utilities going in are real, and you do not clear that much ground for a project you are not committed to. But between committed and open, there is a lot of runway. So if you are planning a trip around this, do not plan a trip around the parks as they are today and treat this as the thing to watch on the horizon. So that is Villain's Land, a name that sounds obvious because it is right. A poison wishing well that solves the hardest problem a Villain's Land has. A coaster promising something Disney has never built. A dark ride with its narration already written. 14 acres on ground that used to be a river. And a kid in this house who is going to lose his mind the first time he walks into that dark forest. I am going to track this one until there is a date. Every permit, every crane, every aerial, when a real timeline shows up, I will say so, and I will say it with the receipts. If you want the honest version of what is coming to Walt Disney World and the honest version of what is not confirmed yet, subscribe. Full written breakdown is on the site link below. Thanks for coming along.